Let's bring in our guy, official beat writer and Eagles reporter. He's not really a writer anymore. That would be disingenuous to say that. Beat cover reporter, Eagles insider, our guy, the one, the only, from New England, Mr. Eliot Shorr-Parks. ESP, how you doing, pal?
What up? What up? How you guys doing this morning? Is there the same energy in the air in Philadelphia that there is here in New England for these?
Well, I mean, we can't know for sure. I'm assuming it's pretty. Here's the thing. I think John.
His hotel room.
Yeah,
looks
I think
energetic.
John is close to your level, but based on the podcast, the Go Birds pod that Eliot and I did yesterday, I don't know if there is a human alive who is more excited for these practices than Eliot Shorr-Parks. He literally gave me a it feels like the Super Bowl a little bit with how excited.
Wow.
He's joking a little bit, but he is really excited. So Eliot, let's dive in. John, I'm sure, has a lot of questions for you about specific things you're looking for, but let's set the scene quickly just off the top. You know, what's the setup for today? What do you know about the practices? Now everything's going to work, and what's kind of top of mind for you going in?
Yeah, so the practice will start at 10:15 before practice. And Vic Fangio, Nick Sirianni speaks tomorrow. So there'll be some press conferences before practice. Practice is expected to go about 2 hours. And then after that, we're supposed to hear from A.J. Brown. We'll see if he ends up talking, but my understanding is the plan is for him to talk today. So that'll be the setup for practice. As to how practice will go, normally you see a lot of situational football in these practices. You'll get one-on-ones early. You'll get offensive line versus defensive line, receivers versus cornerbacks, tight ends versus running backs, and then they'll get into teamwork. And that point, you'll see third down. You'll see 4-minute drills. You'll see red zone. So should be a lot of situational work at the end of practice. But they also have 2 days. So today maybe you could see a lot of third down. Tomorrow could be a lot of red zone. But they use these practices to put their team in situations that they can't put them in season games.
So does it end up becoming a move the ball period at any point, Eliot? My concern is, if we get penalized 10 times for 96 yards in our first preseason game, there will be officials out there, but if you're doing a red zone period where it's at the 15-yard line because that's where the coaches want to start, we're doing our plus 15 plays now, so that's where the ball will be. If someone jumps off sides or someone, is penalized, they're not going to move that back. I mean, they're working on the plus 15 plays. Is there a move the ball type scrimmage period at some point where they're going to be tackling to the ground type, game situation thing?
Yeah, so normally they do what you are talking about, where be at, let's say, the 35, and if you get 5 yards, it's 2nd and 5. If you lose 5 yards, 2nd and 15. Now, as to whether or not they want to your point, in your exact instance, like if they're at the 15, do they want to push them back 5 yards? That's probably a coaching thing, but, hopefully that's not a problem the Eagles are dealing with a lot. But in training camp, and then also as we saw in the Saturday night preseason game, penalties have been an issue. They're learning a new cadence. They're doing more pre-snap motion than they used to. So I do think you have seen quite a bit of penalties on the offense so far, but this is their time to work on it. So yeah, if they have a penalty in a live drill, I think they will push them back. And honestly, way for them to learn, right? To deal with the consequences of their actions.
So what is your expectation in terms of will Sean Mannion, Nick Sirianni and company on the offensive side of things show anything that is new in the new package? We know how close to the vest Nick Sirianni likes to play things, doesn't want to give any advantage to our future opponents. Are we going to see pre-snap motions and the ideas that we hope are a part of this offense, or is it all vanilla?
So this will be their best dress rehearsal they'll get before week 1. When Sean asked earlier in the week about, what's your plan here? Are you going to show everything, or are you still kind of treating this like a preseason game? His answer was a little bit down the middle, but I think he leaned more towards, hey, we got to run our stuff because these 2 days are truly the most valuable days of training camp. The Eagles really value them. The players really value them. I'd assume the Patriots really value them. This will be the opportunity to get going for week one, to practice the stuff they want to run. So will they show everything? Maybe not everything, because ultimately you're still practicing in front of another team. That team will have tape of the practice, and maybe you want to be a little bit cautious, like, not that the Patriots would do this. I mean, the Patriots would never share tape of a practice, but, there would be a bit of a worry maybe there. But I do think that they will run most of their stuff.
How crowded is the area right now with Eagles fans? Are you noticing that the place is going to be packed with the midnight green, or is it does it feel very practice like?
Well, so I'm not down at the facility yet. I will be down there soon. When I was here a few years ago for joint practices, the Patriots still have open practice, much like the Eagles used to have at Lehigh. So you do get a good amount of fans there. And there were Eagles fans last time I was there. I'd imagine there'll be even more this time, considering, the drama around these practices, the A.J. Brown of it all. So, yeah, I expect to see Midnight Green down there. It feels like any trip I go anywhere, I see Eagles fans. So it would not be surprising at all if they infiltrate the Patriots practice today.
And how good is this Patriots defense? How big a challenge is this going to be for Sean Mannion?
So they were third in the league last year in points allowed. I think as with all of their success last year, you do kind of have to look at it and say they played an easy schedule, right? So that factors into it. But I think if the Eagles in these next 2 days move the ball well, if they're good on third downs, if they're good in the red zone, if they move the ball in the live periods, you can definitely look at this and say this was a good showing against a good defense. Obviously, it's a new season. We probably won't have the answer to how good any unit is until 5-6 weeks into the season, including units we think are great, right? Like the Eagles defense. They still have to go out and prove it this year. But if you're just going off last year, I mean, they allowed fewer points than the Eagles did, or at least it was right around there. So it is a very good unit. Christian Gonzalez is one of the best corners in the league. Seeing him against these Eagles receivers, whether that be Devontae, whether that be Dontavian Wicks, it'll be really telling. So I think it's a really good test for the Eagles offense, and I do think it'll give a really good indication of where they're at against a good defense.
What is your expectation? The starters, we know that they're going to get the majority of the snaps, but we also know that the Eagles don't want to risk injury, and they are so concerned on that front. I hope it's all starters. I know it can't be, or else they would literally just die on the field. This is coming from where they've come from. They're going a few snaps at a time in practice. This is such a huge step up in terms of intensity. How are they going to distribute the snaps?
Yeah.
Is it 80% of the snaps are the ones, and then at the end of practice they let the younger guys scrimmage it out, or what's your expectation there?
So they're able to get a lot of reps in. The Patriots have a big practice facility. They'll do some split field stuff. My guess is over the next 2 days, you'll see Jalen maybe get 65, 70 reps, if not upwards of 80. I mean, they get a lot of reps in these practices. So I would expect everyone on offense, really short of Devontae, just because he's still kind of coming back from that hamstring injury. We'll see how much he does, but they're going to practice a lot. Again, like these are the 2 days they are using to prepare for week one. They will obviously practice prior to week one. They'll have more training camp practices. Those practices still matter, but this is like the thing they really, really value. So they want to get Jalen out there. They want to get the offensive line out there. They want to see Dontavian Wicks against Christian Gonzalez. You want to see if Darius Cooper can continue to have the really good training camp that he's had up against this Patriots defense. And then the flip side, I know we don't focus on it as much because we all feel very confident about it, but this Eagles defense is going to get a lot of work too. The Patriots were a really good running team last year. The Patriots added 2 really good receivers this offseason. Drake May had a really good year last year. So seeing how this Eagles defense does against the Patriots offense, I know it might not be the headline, but I do think it's equally as important in some ways.
How excited are you to skewer A.J. Brown after practice?
And do you think he'll speak? You said he's supposed to. We know that AJ has been hit or miss on the supposed to speak. When he does speak, he'll usually say stuff. But do you expect AJ to actually speak? And is it dependent upon how he looks?
Well, yeah, I think that could be the case, right? If practice doesn't go well, maybe he won't talk. And with all these player press conferences, they're not guaranteed, right? They're not required to speak. So it's not like in the middle of the season where you are required to talk once a week. So if AJ doesn't want to talk, if the Patriots decide not to put him out there, he won't talk. Now, I've been at a lot of these events where, the Eagles beat comes to a city with a player that used to play here, a coach that used to coach here, and they take it over, right? So I expect AJ Brown's press conference to be filled with Eagles reporters. The Bulldog will be there, David Uram. We know he is not afraid to ask a tough question. So if AJ does step to the podium, I think he'll get asked a lot of questions he, will probably categorize as uncomfortable. Why did you want to be traded from the Eagles? Was it Jalen Hurts? Why do you view this new place you're at as heaven? Why did you write the best to ever do it on the wall? AJ has not spoken since that loss against the 49ers. He didn't talk in the locker room after. He didn't talk in locker room clean out day. He's not even had a real press conference with any Eagles reporters since then. So if he does talk today, I mean, I know there's probably 10 or 15 reporters down here from Philadelphia. I expect him to get a lot of those questions.
This is the last one for me. Do you know, does the team know? I guess the team has a better feel. We lost Nakobe, Dean. We know that he was quite the leader, and the guys leaned on him. They seemed to like being led by him. Who's the leader now of the defense? We know, supposed to be the quarterback on the offensive side of things, and I think Jalen has been more loquacious and a lot more into it, seemingly. But on the defensive side of things, it feels like, Jalen Carter got paid.
Jordan Davis,
Jordan Davis is a great statesman for the group. Zach Bond seems quiet.
Yeah.
The DBs, they have so much talent, and they're great, but it's like it's a group, and normally the DBs aren't the guys who are fronting the charge, so to speak.
And
they're the
still
defensive
too.
Backfield.
And young. They're young DBs still too.
So who do you think is the guy who they all look to for leadership?
So I do still think, because it is early, the leaders are probably still kind of figuring who that is going to be during the season. But I do think they have leadership on that side of the ball. And I would start with Zach Bond. Zach Bond, as a linebacker, he's in the huddle calling the plays. He's the communication, at least he's been at times, between the coaches and the players on the field. So I would point to Zach Bond. And then, James said it, but I think it's another answer. Like Jordan Davis is definitely, I think, the vocal leader of that team. And he certainly represents the team a lot through the media. Like when the defense, it doesn't happen often, but if they struggle, if there's a hot topic going on with the defense, it's normally Jordan Davis that steps to the podium and answers those questions. So that's really happened over the last year, but I would point to Jordan Davis. I would point to Zach Bond. I think Nolan Smith among the Georgia guys is pretty influential, but I don't know, on a broader scale, how important he is in that locker room. But yeah, with Nakobe gone, there's room for leadership. And, John, you're a former player, so you can probably speak to this better, but it's still just training camp, right? So I think as the season goes on, as they go through more battles together, including these next two practices, that's when a true leader could really start to emerge in place of Nakobe.
I lied. I have one more question. And this is this is kind of along the lines of, is Jordan Mailata ever going to play running back? Willie Lampkin. Jordan Mailata, there was no chance. I mean, the guy's 6'9". Willie Lampkin is 5'10".
Yeah.
And he's really explosive. He's really athletic. Are there other plans? I'm not saying fullback, but I'm just saying the Fridge scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 20. Is it possible Willie Lampkin can do more than just play center and guard, and is that in the plans?
So it's funny. I remember over the years talking to Jordan Mailata about why he's never carried the football. And one thing he brings up is a rugby ball is so much bigger than a football, right? So Jordan Mailata actually has trouble like gripping the football in a way to carry it. Willie Lampkin doesn't have that problem, right? Because Willie Lampkin's about a foot smaller than Jordan Mailata. So
Truly.
Sean Mannion was actually asked earlier this week if there's plans to use Willie Lampkin in any creative type of role. And he basically was like, we're working with Willie on what he's supposed to do now. Play center, take reps at guard. And maybe there's those options down the line. But you're right. I think fullback is something you could potentially see him go into the backfield as. Obviously, it's a blocking role. He's very athletic. He's quick getting to the second level. So you could see him doing some of those things fullbacks do. But, for right now, with the offense they're still learning, I don't know how creative you'll see them get that quickly. But yeah, Willie Lampkin, and I think he will make the team, does in theory provide the ability for the coaches to get creative.
Love it. Terrific report. Everyone follow him on Twitter at Eliot Shorr-Parks. Check out the Go Birds podcast feed for post practice pods. Eliot will have either URAM or Brandley Gouton or someone with him to react as it happens. And Eliot, we will obviously have you back on the show tomorrow. Thanks, pal. I know how fired up you are, man. I hope you have a great day, pal.
I can't wait. Can't wait to talk to you guys later.
I know.
Thanks,
He
Eliot.
is so yesterday when we did the pod, doing like a preview of the joint practices, he was like a kid on Christmas Day. He literally was like, and he said, I know it's not the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that, but he's like, I feel like I'm in Arizona in the hotel waiting for the Super Bowl with my level of anticipation for this.
Not over the top.
I was
at
like,
all.
shut up. That is too
Yeah.
far, but I do love your childlike joy for the joint practices. I can't get there. I am not nearly as worked up.